Bloody hell, Dead Cells is so effing good though. It's really, really good. Dead Cells is all sorts of yes please, and I don't think I'm being hyperbolic when I say it's one of the best games I've played in a long bloody while, certainly one of the best games I've played this year. A challenging but very fair 2D action platformer, Dead Cells takes the Metroidvania concept, randomizes the layout of the maps, gives you lots of weapons to pick up along the way, and puts you up against a bestiary of memorable, visually stunning, and above all, tough monsters. You're a little gloop wearing some armor that runs around environments, gathering power-ups, picking up new weapons, and collecting cells, which you will need to unlock permanent upgrades that will carry over to your next run. This is one of those titles that have the old permadeath thing, but in a fashion similar to the Binding of Issac, there are upgrades and bonuses that you can retain, and in this game you're going to have to collect cells from fallen enemies and get them to the end of a level in order to spend them and get your upgrades. It's the kind of progression system that keeps you playing even after you die. You want to jump back in and play some more to get that progress and unlock some sort of weapon or skill bonus, or just a healing potion, since healing in-game can be hard to come by. As difficult as the game might be, it's fairly generous with the amount of options it gives the player. You can get various melee weapons and ranged weapons that behave in different ways, and have incrementally stronger versions throughout the game with their own unique attributes. Then there are traps and tactics such as turrets you can throw down that can deal immense damage to the enemies, or something like a wolf trap that'll hold enemies in place, which can be very useful for tough monsters such as elite versions of common enemies or bosses. And the cooldown meters on these tricks and traps are swift enough that nothing feels too awesome to ever use. In fact, you should use stuff as much as you can. That's something I personally need to get a lot better at in this game, because I'm so used to games that give you these awesome powers but restrict them so they're too awesome to ever really use. Whereas in Dead Cells, if you're not exploiting every advantage you have, you're probably gonna die quick. As for the gameplay itself, it's so fluid. It's fast, it's responsive, you always feel powerful. It's one of those games that make you feel good at it, even if you're not very good at it, because everything is just so swift and satisfying. The dodge roll mechanic especially covers a lot of ground, gives you a nice wad of invincibility, and is incredibly useful. You never feel like the dodge gets you into trouble like it can in many other games. There are lots of fun weapons to use, from bows to bombs to kicking shoes to a whole wad of swords, and you'll only unlock more and more as you keep playing and spending your cells. And while much of the game is randomized, you can still go in with a game plan and go for specific weapons. And during a run, you'll be able to find scrolls that let you upgrade your attributes to make those weapons even more powerful. This is one of those games that can feel a little bit intimidating, a little bit daunting when you first fire it up, but after a mere handful of runs, there's such an intuitiveness to the control scheme, and the enemies are well presented with patterns and tells that you can very quickly learn to deal with, that you only feel more encouraged after each death. You might panic when you first meet a boss or an elite version of an enemy, but after you die, you take it as a learning experience, you dust yourself off, and you jump back into the fray. It's got that Dark Souls sense of encouragement and drive, which is the sign of an excellently designed game. So many games just want to be hard. They just want to say, we're hard, and that's it, and that can be very discouraging. You'll just feel like you're getting your head caved in, and you won't know what you've done wrong. You won't get a chance to learn because the game's so unforgiving, so unyielding. But because of a brilliant balance between challenge and player empowerment, no death in Dead Cells feels cheap. It's certainly not felt cheap in the time I've spent playing it so far. Every time I've died, I've just wanted to jump right back in. The game's got a great visual style, it's got those retro-esque graphics, but with intricate artistry woven into it, and a sublime colour palette, backed up by a lovely soundtrack and some humour. It's got the sort of Dark Souls sense of bleakness. You're exposed exploring ruins and sewers, grotty places. But when you run into NPCs, they've got witty things to say, and the main character itself has little quips and asides. And very much like Dark Souls, there's a sense of history there. There's a sense that stuff's gone on, long past atrocities and horrors, but not in a way that ever takes itself seriously. So it has fun with misery. Also, there is an option in the menu to change the healing items, so you can have a vegetarian option, and lots of other options as well. If you want stuff to look like Castlevania healing items, you can get those too. Surprised they got away with calling that option Castlevania-esque, but there we are. I was waiting for the Switch version before picking this up because I had a feeling I'd really like it on the Switch, and it definitely feels at home there. Any version's gonna be good, because it's a ruddy bloody good game, but personally I'm enjoying it on the go a lot. It's reductive to just say this game is like a Metroidvania, or like the Binding of Isaac, or like Dark Souls. It is like all of those games, but the elements of those games have combined to make Dead Cells its own unique, excellent experience. And very much like those games, there's this sense of secrecy. There are elements of this game that you won't understand until later on when you get new abilities. There are little mysteries here and there. It feels like I've only scratched the surface of what Dead Cells has to offer, and I'm already fawning over it and throwing flowers at the bloody thing. The idea it could get better from here is just, well, exciting, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. And how often do you get to hear me be excited about a game, huh? Not often, and only when I feel it really truly deserves it, and Dead Cells absolutely deserves excitement. If any of the stuff I've said before now sounds even vaguely interesting to you, I think you should friggin' get this game. I don't think I have a bad word to say about it. I don't think I have a bad word to say about Dead Cells. And the only reason I'm going to stop talking about Dead Cells in a second is so that I can go back and play some more Dead Cells, okay? So let's just cap off by saying Dead Cells is superb.